In this video, I want to explain a little bit about this page, building blocks, that is in the bottom part of the sales message builder. We created this concept in this area of building blocks to make it easier for you to create, edit, and change content. Basically, we try to create a system that creates blocks of talking points, and then you can mix and match those blocks to create different documents. Now, you can skip this area and use the system in its complete entirety. The downside to that is that you might have to enter the same changes in multiple places. This area allows you to make changes in one place, and then those changes can be displayed in multiple places. To explain how that works, let me just show you some graphics to kind of show you how all the different pieces fit together. So in SalesScripter, there is an area where you will enter individual points, such as individual points about, and when I say points, I mean talking points or questions, but you'll enter different points about the product you sell, different value points about what your product delivers, different pain points, different pain questions. And the areas where you do that is at the product page, where you enter different details about the products you sell, and in the campaigns area where you enter different details about your value, pain points, questions. So these are where you enter these individual points. And then once those points are entered, those points all feed into the area of the building blocks. We basically take those individual points and we create blocks. So there's, instead of individual pain points or individual value points, there's a block called pain points and value points. And let me show you what those look like. This is where all of the information flows from your product and campaigns to create these individual blocks. So as you can see here, here are the pain points. The individual points then come together to become a set of bullet points. Now, here is a place where I can edit these bullet points so that I can make changes. I could add something ahead of the bullet points. I could say something after the bullet point. So this is where I can edit that block. So instead of at the product and campaign area is where I can edit the individual points, here's where I can edit it as a block. Another thing you can do is you can just add a whole nother building block. So we create all these building blocks that we use for the templates that are automatically generated by the software, but you might create a whole new building block, maybe a story that you often tell, or a line of the discussion that you often share, and you could create a whole new building block by clicking this button and creating a whole paragraph or story or something that you want to share and create that as a block. Now once you have all these blocks, what the software actually does is that all of those blocks can then be used to create scripts and templates and documents. So we'll put together these different blocks to create a call script with the introduction block, the value points block, and so on. And then that flow becomes a particular script. We can then mix and match those blocks to create different scripts, which is a different order of how you might say something. So this is how the library uses all that different content to create the different documents. And all of the blocks then flow down to the documents and the library. Let me show you where that is. So if you can see here are different call scripts, and each of these call scripts use different blocks to create the document. Now if I click on this edit page, you will see that this is where all of the different blocks are put together to create a document. Now you can edit these areas, and this should look similar to the building block page. But what you should keep in mind is that if you make a change in this area, you're only editing that individual document. Whereas if you make that same change at the building block, you're editing the block, and then all of the documents that use that block get edited. That's an example of how the building blocks are designed to make things easier for you, because you can make the changes in one space, and then those changes impact all the different documents that are linked to that area. So what might get a little complicated for you at first is the fact that you can make changes and edits in 3 different areas. You can edit individual points in the sales message builder. You can edit or change building blocks also in the sales message builder, or you can edit or change the actual scripts. So one thing that might be confusing is where is the best place for you to make a change when you want to add more content or change something. It's fairly simple if you understand a few rules to help you with making that decision. So first of all, if you want to make a change that only impacts one document, one script, you should make that change at the script level in the sales playbook. And here's where you would do that. You'd go to the sales playbook, here are your scripts or your emails. Each document has an edit button, and if you click on that, then you're taken to an edit page, and you can edit any of this information only impacting this particular document at this particular block, and you can save that. If you're making a change to a section of a document and that section repeats in multiple documents, you should make that change at the building block level. And here's where you do that is in the Sales Message Builder, the building blocks level. You can click on a block, edit anything about that block, make any changes, and then any document that uses that block will then have those changes. And if you're just adding more additional individual points, for example, you want to change or add more value points or benefit points, or you want to change or add more questions to your set of pain questions, you should do that at the individual point level in the Sales Message Builder. And here's where you do that at the campaign level. You can edit any individual points, add more points, delete points, change the wording of particular points. You can also edit individual points in the product area. And one other area where you can edit individual points is the area of questions. And these are different categories of questions. So all of those individual questions, all of those individual points get entered in these areas, and those flow down to the building blocks. Now, one last thing I need to explain to you is that when you make changes to a script or to a building block, we protect those changes from getting overwritten by changes upstream. For example, if you want to make changes to the pain questions of one document and you edit that one document, a reason why you might want to do this is if you have a very particular call script for, say, following up on appointments completed, and you have very specific questions and language that you want only in that one document, you might only edit that one script. When you do that, that block of that particular document becomes customized and it becomes protected from changes upstream. For example, any changes you make to the pain questions building block or to the individual pain questions in the Sales Message Builder, those will not flow to that particular document. Let me show you what that looks like. So if I'm on a particular document and I edit the pain questions to say, let's say I just delete these questions, and if I hit save, you will see here that there's actually a message here. This section is now customized and will not be updated with changes made in the Sales Pitch Builder. So this is now a customized section, and any changes, like I said, will not flow to this. Now, that's great and it's protected. You may reach a point where you make some changes to this section and you might either think you made a mistake or you just want to backtrack and say go back to the way it was originally, almost like a factory reset. You can reset that section by clicking this button, reset and reconnect. What the reset basically resets it to the original way it was presented, and then the reconnect actually allows the changes upstream to flow back down to this document. So if I click that, this document's going to refresh, and then this is now back to the original setting. That same dynamic occurs at the building blocks level, where you could have a situation where you want to change your pain questions building block and in order to have those changes impact all of your documents. And then if you make the changes in that area, that then becomes a customized block and becomes protected from any changes upstream. And let me show you what that looks like. So here is the pain questions building block, and if I just, let's say I want to make a change and delete some questions, and if I hit save, you can see now this is now a customized block, and it is also labeled as this is now customized, and it will not be updated with changes made basically upstream. So it's now customized, and you can see here are the edits we've saved. And again, if I ever want to reset that to where everything flows down and it's looking like it originally did, I can hit reset and reconnect. So that is pretty much it. I know it's a little bit to get your hands around, but it's important to understand in order to fully use the system. If it's a little overwhelming and you just want to get in there, create content, get your scripts, not really worry too much about having it set up properly, you can certainly skip the building blocks area, just enter some information as your individual points, and then edit the documents in terms of how you want them to look. Or another option for you is you can also go about this by skipping entering the individual points if the workflow of the questions seems kind of confusing or overwhelming to you. You could actually skip entering the individual points and answering the individual questions and just dump your content in the building blocks level and then use those to create your documents. Or you could skip that altogether and just go straight to the documents and do all of your editing and your content creation and your writing and wordsmithing there. So hope that helps. Look for other videos if you have any other questions. Thanks.